My name is Shannon, and this is my YouTube channel, Whiskey and Wool, and my series called Cast On With Me, episode 4. I swatched for 3 sweaters in the past couple weeks, and today I think I'm going to cast on 2. So I'm going to see if I can get through 2 in this episode. I don't know if I can. We'll see. But I only have 2 projects on the needles right now. I usually have 4 or 5. I've been enjoying having fewer, I have to say, but I am just itching to cast on a couple of these projects. One is a fairly new conclusion that I came to, and the other one is something that I've been thinking about for quite some time. So let me get into it. If you're not familiar with this series, I spend about 45 minutes to an hour just talking about diving deep into some of the decisions that I made with a new cast on, and I spend some time knitting, so you'll have so make sure you grab something to craft while in that downtime, where you're just gonna listen to music and I'm gonna do some work, do some knitting myself. So anyway, I want to cast on, I talked about this in my usual Knitter's Life series, in the last episode, that I had recently made some handspun, and it came out into a very beautiful pastel rainbow. It should self-stripe a bit, but there's also quite a bit of marling happening in the skein. It is a 3-ply that I made out of some 100% merino from Kim Dye's yarn. I actually have 2 skeins. One is brighter than the other, so this is the paler one, and I think what happened with the skeins with the fiber is that the coral color, this color that you're seeing on the outside, just did not come out as bright on this one as it did on this one. So you can really see the coral there, but the rest of the colors are pretty much as bright. Maybe the green is also a little toned down. So I don't really want to alternate skeins because I really want that self-striping thing to happen with this yarn. So I think what I'm going to do is knit kind of a top to bottom gradient. I think that's the plan. I have to just sort of play it by ear. So I'm going to definitely start with the brighter skein so that the top of the sweater is bright, and then perhaps the sleeves and the lower third or so is the paler skein. We'll see how it goes. That'll be something to think about later. So the pattern that I'm making is this one. I'll also pop it on screen with its actual color pattern. This is the Mini-Unbearable Hoodie by Maxim Cyr. I have made 3 of these. I made one doing the jacquard I'm using 7th Ave lingo. Sorry, color work instead of hand knitters lingo. So yes, the pattern, the color work pattern with this beautiful little bear border with flowers and stuff. I made one of those for Julie, my granddaughter, when she was maybe like a year old, and I loved the way the pattern was written, and I decided to go right in and make another one, and I made a rainbow hoodie, or self-striping rainbow hoodie, out of some hand-dyed or handspun, hand-dyed for sure, handspun that I had, and Julie loved it. Julie loved the rainbow hoodie. So I had enough of that rainbow yarn to make a second hoodie for her when she outgrew the first one. So she's been wearing the second one. So those are my 3 Mini-Unbearable hoodies that I've made. So I'm about to make a 4th. This one is going to be bigger, of course, than the other one. I don't have any more of that self-striping rainbow, bright colored rainbow hand spun yarn. I had made that from a advent that I got in 2023 to 1 in 2021. That was when I had got that rainbow, that bright colored rainbow from Sarah of Green Goat Ranch. She does countdown calendars, usually in the like mid-summer, late to fall area. Like she has a bunch of different ones. Some of them are, all different themes, and I had purchased a rainbow one, and then last year I bought, for 2022, I got Beach Rainbow, which you may have seen in my handspun Milton that I recently finished. That was from her advent as well. And then this year I got a very sort of somber, dark set of yarns that are fiber that I'm gonna make into skeins that I'll use probably for color work in sweaters for me, or pat projects for me, or other adults. They're very dark, so you could put dark colors on kids, but Julie really likes brights. She saw this skein when she was visiting a couple weeks ago. She saw this skein on my spinning wheel, and then she saw it once it was done, and she loved it. And I asked her if she wanted a sweater out of it, and she said yes. So she doesn't know what sweater I'm making. I've made her several sweaters, but I think this is a good one to do. I ran into a couple snafus, things that I'm gonna have to kind of finagle. The pattern, first off, is written only for sizes, children's size 2, 6, 12, and 16. I think that's because of the color work, right? The bears on there. Max was probably, it's hard to get when you have color work that makes a very defined motif. It's hard to do multiple, you're limited in how you can break that up to do multiple sizes. So for the last hoodie, I kind of split the difference to get a size 4. And for this one, I think I'm going to go ahead and make the size 6, except I have one caveat. I swatched with the rainbow yarn, and I swatched on size 5. So I do these little yarn over, knit 2 together to help me remember the size needle that I used in case I swatch way far in advance of when I'm actually going to cast on. And I really like the fabric. The needle size you're supposed to knit with is a size 6, but you're also supposed to US 6, which would be a 4mm. Just seeing, it's not on here. Oh, nope, looking at the wrong pattern. That's what happens. Yeah, I think that size 6, US 6 is a 4mm. I used a 5, which is a 3.75 millimeter needle. I spun a sport weight instead of DK, and the pattern's written for DK. So that's part of what some of the finagling I have to do. I swatched, and my gauge is pretty far off. I got 23 stitches per 4 inches, and I'm supposed to get 21. 21. Yeah, I'm supposed to get 21. So, oh my goodness, my cat was here, and he's already gone up to sleep, up to take a nap. It's funny. He's funny. My young one. I thought he was gonna get on camera. So with 23 stitches per 4 inch instead of 21, it's gonna a size 6 sweater, if I cast on that, would finish at a 25 inch chest measurement when it should be about a 27 inch. for that same size. So I looked up little girl sizes to just see like how big are little girls normally at this size, because I know what size Julie's wearing now, and I want to make sure I aim a little like into a bigger size. So for a little girl who is a size 4, her chest, her actual chest measurement is probably around 22 to 23 inches. So a 25 will only give her, sorry, a little bit less, 21 to 22 inches. So a 25-inch chest sweater will give her only 3 inches of positive ease. And it seems like I should put in a little bit more. So if I did the 27-inch, that would give her 5 inches of positive ease. So that would be good, I think. Whereas if I knit the size, so that would be if I made the size 6, I would get to a 25-inch chest, too small. If I knit the size 12, I'll get to a 29-inch chest, too big. But I thought about it, and I think because the size 6 finished chest on Max's pattern is like 27.5 inches, I think I'm just going to go ahead and do the size 12, follow along on the size 12, and maybe make some modifications after I get going. I'll make sure I follow the vertical measurements like the yoke depth and the sleeve length from the size 6 so that it really ends up being more of a size 6. And yeah, I'll take it from there. So there's not a big stitch count difference between the 6 and 12. It's about 30 stitches. So if I find it seems like it's getting too big, I'll just maybe eliminate an increase round in the raglan, and it is a raglan sweater. Or I will, yeah, just if I eliminate maybe an increase round, or maybe don't increase as much, I'll see how it goes. Because again, I do need, like, he's got a 7-inch yoke depth for the size 12, but only 5.5 for a size 6, and I'm going to be making a 5.5, so it may end up working out pretty good. But this way, at least she'll have a little more wearability with it. All right, so this pattern starts with a provisional cast on because it does have a hoodie. So I did I need to cast on a little less than 100 stitches. So I chained 100 stitches using a crochet hook and some DK weight yarn to make sure I have a loose enough stitch to put my yarn through. So I'm gonna go ahead and get going and do a little counting and stuff. So I'm just gonna leave you on your own for a little bit while I do this part. I was just checking. I need one more stitch. Okay. And then I'll join in the round. There we go. Yeah, and then I join in the round and start the raglan. I think I've got to do some marker placing and stuff like that. Size 1 and 3. Right, okay. We need a beginning of row marker. These are all my my beginning of row markers, or just like markers that are like on a complete circle. I just put them all into this little old candy tin that's got a sugar skull. I was kind of hoping for something that was a little sort of appropriate for the season. I think I have a little strawberry. Yes, there it is. That'll be cute. Oops. And I know I have to start placing markers soon, but there you go. A little tiny strawberry that I got, a little enamel strawberry that I got on from Etsy, from an Etsy shop a while ago. I couldn't tell you where, so I hope you're all right with me not saying exactly where. Okay, and now I knit the next round. Next 2 rounds I just am knitting. So I don't have any big travel plans this year. I just, wanna focus on saving money instead. I got a new car, so that's a very big purchase. And I talked about it probably in Cast On With Me 2 or 3, I think 2. And man, things just keep going up. Like prices just keep going up. And I got a couple increases in, everyday type of stuff that has really changed. It's taking little bites out of my cash flow. So anyway, needless to say, I have no big trips planned for this summer. I'm curious what other folks are doing though. I love to hear about other people's plans and live vicariously through them. So I'm hoping like maybe next year I'll be able to plan some sort of trip, like a sightseeing trip. I will be going to see my family in Texas later on this summer, and I'll have time off, and I'll make small local trips for the weekends and stuff, and probably for the 4th of July holiday coming up. But yeah, that's the extent of my travel plans, and that's okay. I'm okay with it. I actually really enjoy being home and taking care of my home. It's such a weird feeling. If someone had told me that is like being a homeowner and taking care of your home is something that you could really get into like as a thing, I would have thought they were crazy. But I see it now, like when I think about some of my friends when they became homeowners. I understand now, like where they're coming from, with working in their garden and stuff like that. And I don't have that. I don't have a yard. I bought a co-op, an apartment in a big building last year, and so that shot down any opportunity to take vacation. Then we'll see how it goes. It's interesting, like thinking about what type of knitting do you bring when you travel? Like if you're traveling using mass transit, like a plane or train or bus, I'm sure you pack very differently than when you're driving. I mean, if I am going away for the weekend, like practically every project I have cast on, and I'm driving, practically every project I have cast on comes with me. I usually try to bring, like for those trips, for those weekend or like a handful of days where I'm just driving to someone or to visit someone who lives not that far from me, but too far for me to just go for the day. I bring a mindless project and an engaging project. When I'm flying, and when I'm flying, it's super interesting because on the flight, I really want an engaging project. I want something that's going to occupy my mind for all those hours when I'm up in the air and I'm trying to, and I'm in this like very sort of uncomfortable, crowded setting where you're like breathing on the person next to you and they're breathing on you. It's just like too much. There's no privacy, so I want something that's just going to take me out of my head, out of my present moment, and just distract me. So an engaging project is really nice. But then when I'm there, either socializing or sightseeing, I want a mindless project. And especially I find like at the end of the day, after having, been out and about, seeing things or visiting or stuff like that, I really want something mindless. So I don't really want to think too much. So balancing that, like bringing ideally, like if you have a project that's engaging in the beginning, like one where you're like a color work yoke would be perfect. Like if you're getting towards the end of the color work in the yoke, or, you make it so that you're on that, body and sleeve island where you're just knitting in the round. Perfect. So you're doing that color work while you're flying, and the only downside would be flying home. You would not have an engaging piece, but something like that. I mean, more often I end up bringing something that's, more engaging for the flight, and then a second more mindless knitting project for the rest of the time that I'm staying. What do you do? I'm sure everyone has different plans. When I went for a 3.5 week vacation through Europe in 2016, I learned my lesson about overpacking knits. Like there was some knit projects that I had brought that I didn't even open the entire time I was there. And I was just like, oh my God, lesson learned, right? And I've learned that just bringing a couple small projects is perfect. Like maybe some plain vanilla socks and something else that's maybe a little more interesting. It's hard though when you're going to be gone for a while, right? And you're leaving behind projects that you're really interested in, working on. Okay. Oh, we're doing increases, so we're not putting markers in for, let's see. Oh no, sorry. Following the right size. I have to remember that I'm doing this bigger size. So now I'm putting the markers in. So let me see. I'm going to need 1, 2, 3, 4 markers. Let me just dig out 4 markers. I like my markers to match when I'm doing sweater like this. Let's see if I have some that match. Oh, maybe these will be good. They remind me of Julie because they're pink. Let me just make sure they're gonna fit. the needle. Yeah, they're fine. Okay, cool. Over the years, I've gotten a lot of what I have in this little tin are things that I've gotten from friends or from as giveaways or in like advent countdowns and stuff like that. So it's a pretty dense tin. I do clean it out from time to time. Okay, so now I just have to pay attention to how many stitches. Truth, do I have the right number of stitches? It looks like I have one too many. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Yep, I have one extra stitch. So did I position these stitch markers correctly, or did I cast on one extra stitch? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. That's right. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Nope, that's right. So now this front part. Okay, so I have one extra stitch. So I think what I'll do, I think I'm just going to knit 2 together. Because normally if it were a round yoke, I'd probably just leave the stitch in there and do one less increase down the road. But because it is a raglan and all the increases are on the raglan, maybe it doesn't matter for this first increase. Yeah, I'm just going to leave it, and then when I come around to that raglan increase, I just won't do it. Happens, right? Okay, so I have one extra increase. I mean, one extra stitch. Alright, I'm doing an increased round now. It is make one right on this before the marker and make one left. Oh no, one stitch before the marker. So stitch to one, knit to one stitch before the marker, make one right, knit one, slip marker, knit one, make one left. Pretty traditional raglan increase. Do you mix up right and left? Like, not, I mean, I know this is my right side and this is my left, but like the make one right, make one left. I always mix up. Nope, that's left. When I do the stitch, I can see. Yes, okay. I can see that it's, oh, that's coming from the left of the stitch and it's supposed to come from the right. So then I can see that it doesn't look right. Okay, so I'm gonna do this this increase several times. So in order to keep track, what I do is put a stitch marker on the increase stitch. So then it just helps me, it makes this more, you know, easy to keep track of. I don't have to examine the knitting closely at all. I can just see, oh yes, this is an increase round, or, and that way if I put my knitting down, I can just do a quick examination of that, of the whether or not it's an increase round, and it's very easy for me to figure out. Oh, I see. Okay, yes, there are some different increase sets. I remember now with this pattern. The marling on this yarn is so pretty, how the colors just blend together. I think it's going to be a really gorgeous sweater. Feels really good to get this cast on because I know Julie will love it, and it's going to be really awesome to be able to bring it with me when I go see them in August. I mean, she definitely does not need sweaters right now, and not in El Paso. It is very warm there. Late in the day here. Did I say that I'm in New Jersey? In case you're new here, I live in New Jersey, right across the river from New York City, which you may have seen a clip of my view of the city from outside my building. In my apartment, I have a western view, so I face the sunset, and New York is the other direction. It's the sunrise direction. Just making sure I did my increases. So yeah, my flight to El Paso is usually around 7 hours. So it's a really long time. There's always a layover. It's impossible to fly from New York direct to El Paso. There's always a layover either in Houston or Dallas, usually. Chicago or Atlanta sometimes, depending on, I think Atlanta is, the layovers in Atlanta if you fly Delta, and it's in Chicago if you fly United out of LaGuardia. But if you fly United out of Newark, which is in New Jersey, and it's probably the most convenient airport for me, although LaGuardia is not far at all. If you fly out in using United out of Newark, you lay over in Houston. If you fly American, you lay over in Dallas. So it kind of boils down to like which airline has the best price and the best travel times as well. So yeah. I'm really itching to go somewhere. I don't know. In Asia, maybe. Really, really love to visit Asia. Maybe Japan or Singapore or something. It would just be so fun. Thailand, maybe. Korea. The flights are just so expensive from here. If I was on the West Coast, it would be West Coast of the US, it would be cheaper. But yeah, from here, it's a lot. Although I hear in Japan they're having their economy's struggling a bit, so it's a good time to visit because the dollar is strong against the yen, and expected to stay strong against the yen for the next year or so. So maybe, I don't know. It's fun to dream. Fun to dream. Alright, I'm going to just get a few more stitches done on this round, and I'll show you progress so far. Oh, this is going to be so adorable. You know what? I went ahead and did that increase on the raglan that I was supposed to skip because I have an extra stitch. I'm gonna have to actually, here, I'm gonna put a little light bulb shaped marker there to remind myself to not do the next increase so that the stitch count gets back on track. There we go. All right. There's not much to look at, but it is pretty cute, pretty beautiful so far. I'm sorry about all the blue. My blue shirt, the blue pillow, blue. And this dark green, remember, is my provisional cast on. So, and this is what's happening on the skein. So it was all blue. Now it's turning. It's got a bit of a marl, pink and yellow marl, and then it's going into that bright green. Oh my gosh, it's so pretty. This is going to be so fun. Even though it's mindless, it's going to just be fun to watch the colors change, which, that's like one of my favorite type of knits. And then I think what I'm going to do, just to finish out what I was saying about the different colors, slightly different shades of handspun that I have, I think when I get when I finish the yoke and I get to the sleeve split, I'm gonna come back and do the hood so I can make sure the hood is done in this brighter one. So then everything up top will be bright. And then I'll switch over. I'll see how my yarn consumption's going, because I think each skein is about 400 yards. No, slightly less, like maybe 350. So I don't think I have enough. I know for the last rainbow hoodie I made, I needed 600 yards. So I'm pretty sure I'm gonna need more than that because this is a sport weight and that was a DK. So I'm probably gonna need more yardage. I may need all of these, so we'll see how it goes. just was checking time. I'm going to just spend a little bit of time, I may not cast on, but the next like 10 minutes or so just talking to you about my next cast on. Because I really want to start this sweater, and I know it's going to take me some time, and I may even cast it on and then have it set aside, or like maybe just dip in and out of it. It won't be high priority. My high priority is going to be the other two that are pretty close to being done. I have two sweaters that I'm very close to doing the sleeves, and one of them has trim and stuff that I'll need to do as well, like neckband trim because it's a cardigan. But yeah, once I get to sleeves, that's usually my cue to like cast on something else. So since this is going to be a pretty sort of easy knit, and my other easy knit, the Traveler sweater by Andrea Mowry, I'm closing in on that. I want an engaging knit, so I'm going to cast on the Gym sweater by Irene Lin. This, I've swatched for it. I had purchased this yarn from Lamb Kid. This is Tod Worsted. It's 65 yak, 35% cashmere. It's a really luxurious blend, and it is quite a splurge for me. I bought this yarn for myself for my birthday this year in February, with the idea that I was going to cast on something. I didn't know what, and rather disturbing knot sitting there, but I assume that's still holding the skein together. So, and then Irene came out with this pattern that is just amazing. It's a lace pattern, of pretty easy. I bought the pattern and took a look at the stitch pattern and stuff, and it's like pretty easy. I think it's easy to memorize and easy to read once everything gets, situated. After swatching, I realized a couple things. So the pattern is written for a, I think you're holding a DK weight with a strand of mohair, or you can use anything that you get gauge with. So I thought this would be really nice, this yarn in her sweater, in her pattern. Sorry, I was just realizing like I look so like whatever, like I'm just melting into my couch here. So anyway, I figured this worsted would work perfectly. I swatched using the size 8 needle that is recommended, which is a US size 5 or US size 8 5mm needle, and I got my gauge is too big, so I went down to size 7. And my gauge is still too big, but I really like the fabric that I'm getting with the size 7. I don't think I want to go down to a size 6 needle just to hit gauge, although maybe I should try it, right? I made this swatch using size 7 needles, and I just hung my hat there. But I actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I should probably try it, because I still didn't. So in size 8, I got 15 stitches for 4 inches. In size 7, I got 16 stitches for 4 inches. Both of them, my row count is the same, and I'm off the gauge by a significant amount. It is, oh, not really, actually. I thought it was 18 stitches. It's 18 stitches in the pattern stitch, 17 stitches in stockinette. So if I'm at 15 on size 8 and 16 stitches on size 7, I'm probably going to be at 17 stitches on size 6. And normally, like, I wouldn't be that bothered by a small difference like that, except that this sweater, the smallest size, has a 50-inch chest. You're intended to wear this sweater with 15 to 20 inches of positive ease, which, you know, the bigger you are, the bigger your chest measurement is, the less positive ease you should have, just generally speaking. I mean, and she didn't figure all that out for you. She just made 5 different sizes. Nope, more than that. 6, 7 different sizes. The sizes range from 50 inches. I only have 5 of the sizes here. I'm trying to find where the 6th and 7th sizes are. So she goes from a 50-inch chest, smallest size, up to a 75-inch chest. So it's really big. And normally if I wasn't getting gauge, but I liked the way the fabric looked, I would probably just go down a size in terms of which size I knit. But in this case, I can't go down a size because if I already did the math, and I think what would happen is that I would come up with I would end up with like a 54 or 55 inch chest. My bust runs around 40 inches, so that would give me like 15 inches of positive ease, which is just too much. Like, I think 10, maybe 12 is the most I want. So I'd really like to hit gauge so that I could make the smallest size 1. Although I may do the math on, do the exact math to figure out. Maybe it would hit more like 12 inches. I'm sorry, I'm like yo-yoing. I should have these decisions made before I get on to talk to you about it. This pattern, she wrote, I always print my patterns, especially when there's a chart to follow, because I just really like to be able to use some washi tape to keep track. I'm gonna live on, or as you watch, I'm gonna try to figure out if the size, if the 7, using needle size 7, will give me about 12 inches of positive ease. So let me just see. What I'm looking for in the pattern is the stitch count, the total stitch count for when after you get past the armhole. Okay, I found it. Okay, so 230 stitches for size 1. So if I have 230 stitches and my gauge is 16 stitches equals 4, so that means 4 stitches per inch. So 230 divided by 4, 57 inches. Wow, that's a lot. What if I do 17 stitches, 4 1/4? I always do this with patterns when I'm finagling the stitch count. I always want to make sure that my because I've seen designers make mistakes. What the designer says the inches, the finished measurement is what it ends up being. Oh, right. Oh, because I would go down 1 stitch. Divided by 4.25, 54. Yeah, so my finished chest would actually be 54 inches if I just used the needle size 7 with the gauge I got. Okay. So maybe I should just do the 7. The size 7 needle. 54 inches would give me like 13 inches of positive ease. That might be okay. I mean, I love the way it looks on her. I love the way it looks on her. Am I gonna love that on me? That big amount of ease? I don't know. It's a risk, right? I'm tempted to just do it. Yeah. I know why I got mixed up now. I made myself a note and I reversed the stitch stockinette and in pattern, so it's actually 17 in stockinette and 18 in pattern. Yeah, I'm gonna go with size 7. It's gonna give me a very big baggy sweater, which I'll see how I feel. I guess I'm okay with, if I'm gonna go ahead and take this chance, I need to be okay with ripping back if I don't like it, if I don't like the fit. Yeah. Well, so I'm not going to cast that on right now, but I will probably cast that on soon, and off camera. And the next time I'll be back with a cast on with me will probably be pretty, probably about a month or so away from now, because with these 2 new sweaters on the needles, I'm probably going to be pretty good with my knitting, my knit projects. And I will be back, though. You can check in on how I'm doing on both of these patterns and on my whips, my other whips, in my regular Knitter's Life, my more traditional knitting channel, Knitter's Life series. And that should be back, if not next weekend, the weekend after. I have a couple weekends away planned and weekend events planned, so I'll see if I can fit it in. Hopefully I'll fit it in next week. I try to put those out every 2 weeks, every 2 to 3 weeks. So 2 weeks is ideal, 3 weeks not so much. But we're coming up on the 4th of July holiday week, which here in the US, and I'm hoping to get away and do some stuff, do some things with friends and family that live around here in this area. But anyway, thanks so much for hanging out with me. I hope you enjoyed hearing my talking out loud about casting on these 2 projects, and maybe I inspired you to do some of your own working through patterns or whatever, figuring out little giving you a little behind the scenes peek at some of the thought processes I go through. And I will see you again real soon. Take care. Bye.